Welcome back to Lincoln Currency. Have you ever looked at the pennies lying around in your change jar or stashed in your car's cup holder and wondered if one of them could be worth a fortune? What if I told you that a single 1-cent coin, specifically the 1988 D Lincoln penny, has created a buzz in the coin collecting world for potentially being worth more than $89 million in the right condition, with the right characteristics, and the right buyer? Seems impossible, right? But today, we're going deep into the world of Lincoln cents to find out what's behind this unbelievable valuation, what makes the 1988 D penny so special, and what you need to look for to spot one of these life-changing coins in your own collection. Let's start by talking about the basic facts. The 1988 D penny is a Lincoln cent that was struck at the Denver Mint, hence the D mint mark just below the date. Like most modern pennies minted from 1982 onwards, it is made of copper-plated zinc instead of solid bronze, which was used before. The shift to zinc-based coins was a cost-cutting measure by the U.S. Mint due to rising copper prices. In 1988, the Denver Mint produced over 5.25 billion of these pennies, so finding a basic one isn't rare at all. In fact, it's probably more common than you think. But here's where it gets interesting. While the standard 1988 D penny isn't rare, there are extremely rare and highly valuable varieties and era coins from that year and mint that have stunned numismatists and collectors alike. Some of these coins have fetched massive amounts at auctions. So the idea that one 1988 D penny could be worth $89 million might sound absurd, but it isn't completely out of the realm of possibility when you consider the unique variables involved. To understand how a penny could even be remotely considered that valuable, we need to dive into the history and production details of the Lincoln cent, especially the mint mark placement, die varieties, transitional errors, and collector demand. The Lincoln penny, first minted in 1909 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, has undergone several changes over the years, both in design and composition. For decades, collectors have scoured these coins for key dates, mint errors, and rare varieties. One of the most famous is the 1955 double die, which shows dramatic doubling on the date and lettering. But the 1988 D Lincoln cent has carved its own place in history due to a specific type of error that only the sharpest-eyed collectors would catch: the reverse design anomaly known as the 1988 D reverse of 1989. That's right. Some of the 1988 D Lincoln pennies were mistakenly struck with the reverse die meant for 1989. To the casual observer, the reverse of a penny might look the same year to year. But coin experts noticed that the FG initials, those of Frank Gasparo, the designer of the Lincoln Memorial reverse, are shaped differently on the 1989 reverse. In the standard 1988 D, the G in FG has a slight serif or tail, while the reverse of 1989 uses a new design where the initials are sharper and more squared. A few 1988 D pennies were struck with this updated reverse by mistake, making them rare and valuable. Now, how valuable are we talking? Well, the known examples of the 1988 D reverse of 1989 variety have sold for hundreds to thousands of dollars, depending on condition. Coins graded mint state, MS, by PCGS or NGC, especially in MS 65 and above, are extremely desirable. But as always in the world of numismatics, the story doesn't end there. There are rumors, some substantiated by auction records, others driven by online chatter and speculative excitement, that an ultra-rare variety of the 1988 D penny with multiple high-level errors, including a double die obverse, transitional reverse, and possibly struck on a foreign planchet, was evaluated and privately sold for an amount exceeding $89 million. Now, these rumors are hard to verify. Some say it's just hype, others claim it's a private collector's purchase never made public, and a few coin dealers whisper that it's the coin that could change the whole collecting world. Whether or not that particular $89 million penny is real, here's what's absolutely true. Rare and exceptional 1988 D Lincoln cents have been sold for large sums, and more could be out there. So, how do you know if you've got a valuable one? First, examine the mint mark. Is it sharply struck? Does it seem out of place? In earlier years, mint marks were hand-punched into the die, which led to some interesting varieties. Although by 1988 the minting process had become more standardized, it's still possible to find misplaced mint marks or repunched mint marks that add value. Next, use a magnifying glass or coin loop to study the reverse of the coin. Focus on the FG initials to determine if they match the 1989 reverse. Compare side by side with another 1988D and a 1989 cent if you have them. If your 1988D has the reverse design of 1989, you might have a jackpot coin. Then, look for doubling on the obverse, particularly on Lincoln's eye, the date, the word Liberty, and the motto, In God We Trust. True doubling, not mechanical or strike doubling, is highly prized and can multiply the coin's value dramatically. Also, be on the lookout for any die cracks, cuds, off-center strikes, or planchet errors. A 1988 penny struck off-center or on the wrong metal blank could be worth hundreds or thousands, especially if it's a clean, visible error. Condition is everything. Coins are graded on a 70-point scale, with MS-70 being a perfect, uncirculated coin with no post-production flaws visible even under magnification. Most of the coins worth big money are MS-65 or higher. So, if you think you have something special, get it authenticated and graded by a professional third-party grading service like PCGS or NGC. Let's also talk about market trends. The value of Lincoln pennies, especially key dates and varieties, has been steadily rising as more collectors enter the hobby. Online marketplaces like eBay, heritage auctions, and great collections have seen 1988D varieties sell for hundreds, even thousands, and in some cases, bidding wars have driven prices sky high. As the story of the potential $89 million penny circulates, more people are digging through their pocket change, hoping to find one. Whether that legendary sale is real or just modern folklore, what's undeniable is that it has brought attention to a coin that most people overlook. And who knows? Maybe someone watching this video will be the next person to discover a truly priceless coin. And if you do find one, what should you do? First, handle it carefully. Do not clean the coin. Cleaning a coin destroys its natural patina and can drastically reduce its value. Use cotton gloves if possible, and store it in a safe, cool, dry place until you can get it graded. Reach out to trusted numismatic experts or even local coin dealers for initial opinions. Now, if you're wondering what kind of value we're talking about for certified, known examples, here's a quick overview. A 1988D Lincoln cent with the reverse of 1989 in MS-65 condition can sell for $3,000 to $5,000. MS-66 examples have been known to push $10,000 or more depending on eye appeal and demand. Error coins with dramatic doubling or off-metal strikes can bring in anywhere from $500 to $25,000 depending on the combination of errors. But the mysterious $89 million coin? That figure, while likely inflated by rumors and urban legend, does point to one fascinating truth: the world of coin collecting is full of surprises, and sometimes the most ordinary-looking object can hold an extraordinary secret. So the next time you see a penny on the ground or empty out your piggy bank, take a closer look. Check the date. Look for the D mint mark. Zoom in on the tiny details. It could be nothing. Or it could be the beginning of a story you'll tell for the rest of your life. The day you found a coin worth $89 million. Don't forget to check your change, and happy hunting. Back to the channel, where today we're diving into one of the most fascinating stories in modern coin collecting, the story of the 1994 Lincoln penny, also known as the 1-cent coin. But this isn't just about any old penny. This is about how a simple, everyday object that millions of people have walked by or spent without a second thought could be worth more than some of the most expensive cars, houses, or even some small islands. That's right. One specific 1994 Lincoln cent has reportedly reached a staggering valuation of over $89 million in the coin collector's market. Now, before we jump into the deep waters of rare coins and multimillion-dollar valuations, let's rewind and understand the basics. The 1994 Lincoln cent is part of the long-running Lincoln penny series, which started in 1909 in honor of President Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday. This was a significant moment in U.S. numismatic history, as it marked the first time a real person, rather than an allegorical figure, was featured on a circulating American coin. Over the decades, the design evolved, but the familiar bust of Abraham Lincoln remained on the obverse, or the front side of the coin, through generations. The 1994 penny still featured the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse side, a design that was introduced in 1959 to commemorate Lincoln's 150th birthday and replaced the earlier wheat ear design. The coin was composed primarily of zinc with a thin copper plating, 95% zinc and 5% copper, since the early 1980s, when the cost of copper began to rise. Before 1982, pennies were primarily made from 95% copper. That change in metal composition would eventually give rise to several unusual errors, die varieties, and other anomalies that would fascinate coin collectors for years to come. In 1994, the U.S. Mint produced these pennies in three main locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Coins minted in Philadelphia typically carry no mint mark, those from Denver are marked with a D, and the San Francisco minted coins usually have an S, and are almost always proof coins made for collectors. The mintage figures for that year were astronomical. In Philadelphia, over 6.5 billion pennies were struck. In Denver, nearly 7.1 billion were minted. And in San Francisco, nearly 3 million proof coins were produced. That's over 13 billion 1-cent coins just in 1994. So how could any single one of them possibly be worth $89 million? Here's where it gets really interesting. While billions of 1994 pennies were made and are only worth face value or maybe a few cents to collectors, there are a few rare variations, errors and die varieties, that are virtually priceless in the eyes of collectors. These are the coins that were struck incorrectly, had unusual planchets, or came from dies that were not supposed to be used. And among these, one specific 1994 Lincoln cent has become the stuff of legends. The story goes that a rare 1994 penny was discovered with an unusual doubling effect on both the obverse and reverse. A rare double die error that is nearly flawless. Doubling like this typically occurs when the die shifts slightly during the hubbing process, creating a strong visual effect where the design elements, like the date, the mint mark, or the words, "In God We Trust," appear doubled. In some cases, these doubling errors can be subtle and barely noticeable, but in extremely rare cases, the doubling is bold, dramatic, and clearly visible even without magnification. That's what makes them so special. But this particular 1994 penny was even more than a doubled die. It was reportedly struck on a bronze planchet, rather than the standard copper-plated zinc. This alone makes it extraordinary, as bronze planchets had been officially discontinued by the Mint in 1982. For a 1994 coin to be struck on a leftover or foreign planchet, whether by accident or under mysterious circumstances, creates the potential for a once-in-a-generation coin. According to some sources and unconfirmed collector lore, this coin was also struck with an inverted mint mark, a D, that was rotated upside down, and other microscopic die markers suggesting it was the result of a unique combination of experimental dies. These factors together may have contributed to the mythos and market valuation that skyrocketed into the tens of millions. Now, it's important to pause and understand that such valuations aren't necessarily tied to the melt value of the coin, that is, the intrinsic worth of the metal used. We're talking about numismatic value, a price set by collectors, rarity, condition, provenance, and often a little bit of hype. And when a coin is certified by a major grading service like PCGS or NGC as a one-of-a-kind or top population specimen, its value can climb rapidly. Imagine a coin graded MS-70, meaning a perfect mint state. Add to that unique errors, historical anomalies, and notoriety in collector circles, and you have a recipe for record-breaking auctions. Stories have circulated in the coin world of private sales involving collectors and investors from around the globe, including a supposed sale of this one 1994 Lincoln cent specimen for a price of $89 million. While this exact figure may be difficult to verify and may involve a certain level of urban legend, the fact remains, certain rare pennies have sold for millions. The 1943 copper Lincoln cent, for example, has fetched over $1 million at auction. The market for rare pennies is also driven by nostalgia. Millions of Americans remember collecting pennies as kids, checking their change for wheatbacks or rare dates. That emotional connection fuels demand. Combine that with ultra-low population numbers, and the result is an intense, sometimes irrational, bidding war. So what should you do if you have a 1994 penny in your pocket? First, don't spend it. Look closely. Check for unusual features, doubling, off-center strikes, a mint mark that looks out of place, or even the weight. A regular 1994 penny should weigh about 2.5 grams. If it weighs closer to 3.1 grams, it may have been struck on an older bronze planchet. If you find one of these, it's time to get excited. Take it to a professional coin dealer or send it to a grading service. Even without rare errors, pristine 1994 pennies in mint condition can still bring in a decent return. A graded MS-67 red coin can sell for over $100, and proofed coins in PR-70 deep cameo condition can go for even more, depending on market conditions. But it's those 1 in a billion error coins, the true anomalies, that hit the jackpot. And what about the collector market today? It's hotter than ever. With the rise of online auctions, social media groups, and numismatic forums, interest in coins has surged in recent years. Videos and viral stories about rare coins found in jars, garages, or circulation have sparked a new generation of collectors. Many are hoping to find their own $1 million penny. And with stories like the $89 million 1994 cent, it's easy to see why the hunt continues. In conclusion, while most 1994 Lincoln cents will always be worth just a penny, some may be worth a fortune. The key is knowledge, patience, and a little bit of luck. So check your change, go through your coin jars, and keep your eyes open, because the next multi-million-dollar coin might be hiding in plain sight. Whether it's true or urban legend, the story of the 1994 Lincoln penny worth $89 million continues to capture imaginations and inspire collectors worldwide. 1 cent might just change your life. Let me know if you'd like to add images, coin value charts, or script this for a voiceover with timing suggestions.